Hello everybody, Janet Urban here, founder of Friends in Film. Welcome to our podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to give you insights that you will not learn anywhere, not in film school, not online, not from anybody, even people on film sets will not know what I'm teaching you because we have studied how to go very fast into the film industry and create a career out of it. And that is what this podcast is about, and that is what the A-List program is about, which is our main flagship program that all these people all over the world are doing to work in the film industry. So enjoy today's podcast, and thank you so much for listening. Okay, let's talk about overspending. That's spending money that you don't really have on something that makes you feel better in the moment. So overspending might be where you're going out regularly for drinks, and you really could be saving that money and using it to move you forward in life. But instead, you're like, oh, I feel kind of lost. I'm confused what to do anyway. And all my friends invited me, so let's just go. Let me just go and be with my friends and spend that money and relax. It's been a hard week. And our brains are going to be very fast in telling us that that's what we should do. So overspending is fueled by a feeling. And usually that feeling is scarcity. Like we feel that there's something missing in our life, something that we feel overwhelmed by, and we want that rush of dopamine when we decide and we buy something. Like maybe this new camera will make a difference. Maybe this new course will make a difference. Maybe going to film school will make a difference. And so we're coming usually from a place of like, things aren't that good. I don't know what to do. Or it could be like, I'm just feeling very lost in my life, and oh, that sounds like a good idea. Let's just go do a vacation. And that's overspending. When you are not planning how you want to use your money, when you're not looking at the amount of money that you are currently making in your life and looking at where you want to go, and then deciding exactly where that money is going to go, where it's going to give you the most impact for where you're going in your life. It is so important that you know how much money you have, and that you know what your debt is, and that you make a plan for moving forward in your life, either adding extra jobs, extra freelance jobs, and a plan where you can pay off that debt if you have it, or a plan where you can invest in something that's going to give you a life that you really want. One thing that people like to say is, I can't afford it. And I tell people, don't ever say, I can't afford it. Because first of all, you're saying can't, which aligns your future that you can't. Like you've just sealed the deal that you can't. So you don't want to use can't. And then you also don't want to tell yourself that you can't afford something, because then you block yourself from all the brilliance of figuring out how to afford those things. So notice that if you are saying, I can't afford it, how long have you been saying that? Probably for many years, and maybe even all your life. I know very well, coming from my family, this I can't afford it came from my past. I mean, I used to say that too. And that's because my entire upbringing, like we were super confined in purchasing anything. Like I was brought up on Kool-Aid. We had no Cokes, no sodas. We had popcorn for a snack. We would never have like a bag of chips. Never have anything extra. We had popsicles that we would make with the Kool-Aid. And that's what we would have. So we were pretty much on the low income lifestyle. And so I heard all the time, oh, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. We would never stop in for fast food. It would always be, we would have our own bologna sandwiches. So it wasn't really a problem when you're a kid. You just kind of accept it. But you do get ingrained in your mind that, oh my gosh, money is something that you don't spend. You save all your money because you don't have very much. And most things, oh, that's for other people, but not you. I was able to break out of that thinking, and I'm so glad that my parents also never said to me, hey, people that are making money, that have money, they're bad people. They never said that. So for me, I was like, making money is something that I really want to do. I want to be able to make a lot of money. I want to travel around the world. I want to have the most amazing friends that have money. I want to have money, and I want to learn skills so that I can make money. And so therefore, as soon as I could start to make money, I got jobs. Like I worked nonstop my entire life up until today, and I still work a good 70 or 80 hours a week. maybe even more, 100 hours. I work so much. I work for 12-hour days all the time, and I love working. And throughout my high school years, I was working. Every moment I had, I was either going to class, or I was doing gymnastics, or I was working out, or I was working. So I was working, filling all my weekends working. I worked at the post office. I worked as a janitor. I worked as a waitress in 3 different places in the town. And I babysat. So I was always working to make money. Then when I went to college, I was also working. I had set myself with internships while I was in college, so I paid for my college education as I was going to school. So I was always working. I didn't party very much. I was working. So I think that was so good, because some people could say, oh, well, you missed out on all the partying and all of that relaxation. But I would say that that work ethic really served me very well, because I would never say I can't, because I proved to myself that I can all the time. And I would never say I can't afford it, because I would just go and make more money so I could afford whatever I wanted. I still kept my expenses low. It's not like I just started spending money. I would still be really watching my money, but I would make money. And I think that it's much better if you have a debt issue and you've got some consumer debt or student loan debt. I think that it's better to not try to become scarcity minded and say, oh, I can't spend anything. I can't go to Starbucks. I can't do anything. Instead, I would say you should add more work to your schedule. Like, you should get extra jobs and add those to your schedule. You should do more and become more. Expand so that you have more and more skills to make more money. I think that people look at how much money they're making from their job, and they look at how much time they have, and they look at their bills, and they're like, oh, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. And as long as that's the case, then you're not going to be asking your brain to come up with any extra solutions. There are a million options out there, ways to make money, a million jobs. And you just start down one path and you meet a bunch of people, and then you go to a different path that makes you more money. Just the act of starting something. And as Tony Robbins says, that massive action is magical, because you start something even though you don't really know the outcome of it. And even though maybe it's only like $20 an hour, but from there you meet people, and knowing that you can, and knowing where you're going, and knowing that it's really great, being proud of yourself that you're out there getting jobs and meeting people and expanding to get more jobs and higher paying jobs, and knowing that you are on your way, that is so good for you. Because then you know that it's a small jump into the film industry. It's a small jump into that most desirable work in the world. But it's a huge jump if you are telling yourself that you are stuck in your life and that there isn't anything that you can do. Like, oh, this is my situation. Then it just seems like it's like a dream to then work in the film industry, because you haven't started the actions that would prove to yourself that, hey, I'm already the type of person that can do very well in the film industry. You actually prove to yourself every day by not taking those actions that film industry is really hard, and you got to get lucky to get in the film industry. So that's exactly what I don't want to have happen for you. And the funny thing is that it's just your thinking, because your thinking is producing your results. And when you believe that, and I want you to believe that because it's true, your thinking is what gives you how you feel. And then how you feel impacts the actions that you take out there. And then the actions you take directly give you your results. So when I was getting all this work, well, as I was putting myself through college, I was thinking, I can make money. I can work my ass off. I can do this. I will do what other people will never do. I had all of those thoughts. And that made me feel very motivated. It made me feel unstoppable. And I seriously was doing what other people, no other students were doing. They were most of them, in school and partying, in their classes, in the sororities, all that stuff. While I was working, I had internships at an insurance company and then at IBM, and I was seeking out jobs all the frickin' time because I wanted to work. I wanted to make sure that I was going to be successful in life. So I'm really glad that I didn't join a sorority to try to latch on to other people to be successful in life. I'm glad that I went out there and I worked really hard to learn things and build skills and meet people out there in the working world, in the real world. in order to get that success in life. So thinking that produces results is true. If you are thinking that I can't afford to do something that I really want to do, then you're going to feel sad. You're going to feel despair. And from that feeling of despair and disappointment, that is going to impact your actions. I can't afford it is going to make you feel despair and take no actions out there. And therefore, that will prove, then the result will be is that you won't be able to, you will show yourself that you can't afford it because you are not making any money. And you'll say, see, I can't afford it. So you're actually creating the cycle where you stay in the same place for years, and 50 years can pass and you'll be in the same income level, all because of your thinking. It's crazy. Or you can see that you're doing this to yourself and you can change your thinking. Now, change is hard. I know it's hard. I have been in classes to change my thinking my whole life. And this is why I find it so important to teach you guys these thinking tools. And because I know that it's how you view yourself and how you view the world and what you're capable of, and then having new thoughts about what you're capable of that allows you to accomplish so much for your whole life. You have to start this process. And that's why I can't afford it just stops the process right there, because you don't even try because I can't afford it. I can't do that. I'm confused. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know how. All of those thoughts are the same thoughts that keep you stuck in the exact same place and never solving it. Never, ever solving it. I don't know how makes it so that you never find out how. Because you'll say all the time, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. You're not asking your brain to give you the answer. You're not asking or believing that you can create the answer, or believing that the answer is out there that you are going to stumble along and create. So therefore, back to money, we often will be overspending because we feel despair. And that at least gives us a sense of dopamine, a sense of like happiness in that moment. But then later we regret it when we see it on our credit card. And we're like, oh my God, how did this bill get so much? Boy, this stuff adds up. And then you feel really bad. And then you might want to forget about it and drink some wine or go on vacation or something. And then it's more and it's more. And then you're at some point, you're just like, damn it, I've got to change my life, but I don't know what to do. And then when no answers come to you for what to do, you just kind of start that downward cycle of just saying, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I could do. I would love to go after a career in the film industry. I would love, Janet, if your course was free, then I could do it. Of course you'd love that, because you would love things to be free, but you still won't be successful. Even if you were given this course for free, you still won't be successful with it, because it's the thinking that is causing this problem. See, I want people that do my program to be like, how much is it? $5,000? Hell yeah, I'm in. Oh, it pays for itself? Hell yeah, I'm going to use this to make a ton of money in the film industry. I just want to know exactly what to do to get into this business and start working. And they'll tell me, oh, so you have similar set jobs and those can help me get on set, and they pay $200 a day? I can get just 2 days in a month and I can pay for the monthly payment plan? I mean, that's the lowest bar of entry ever. Sign me up. Let me do this. And then they'll be even more excited when I tell them, hey, similar to set jobs, that's how we start. Similar to set jobs pay $200 a day. They're easy to get. You can even apply for them. They're so easy to get, and they pay really well. And they set you up to be able to get the jobs on set, the production jobs, because they have you doing tasks when you're doing these similar to set jobs, very similar to what you're doing on set. So they're a great way to get started. They make it so easy for you to do this program and get into the business. And then film set jobs, those pay $200 to $650 per day. And by month 6, following my program, you can be getting these $650 per day jobs. I've got a ton of people in my program that are getting those $650 per day jobs, doing 10 days a month, $6,500 a month. And see, if you are already somebody that's going out there and getting work and freelancing, and maybe you're a videographer, you're like, oh yeah, well, I can do that. I'm going to use this program to do that. It makes sense to me. But if you're like, I can't afford it, and you don't know my situation, and that's the thinking you mostly been living under, then it feels like that is so, like, that's just such a dream. That's too far away for me. When people email me and they give me a long list of problems, oh, I can't do the program, or I can't be successful in film because this, and they give me not one single solution, I'm like, okay, your problem is very clear. It's your thinking. It's none of all these obstacles you're giving me. It's your thinking that all the obstacles are the problem. And then I get somebody saying in emails, oh yeah, I have this problem, this obstacle, but this is what I'm doing to solve it. And this is my plan. And I'm so excited. They always have a completely different viewpoint to their email. It feels completely different on my nervous system as I read them. And I'm like, you go. Like, I want to make sure that person is so successful because they're already thinking in that way of solving their problems and thinking of solutions. I think what people don't realize is when they email me, I read all those emails. And I'm like, either that email, I get it, and you don't realize that you, in comparison to the thousands of emails I get per day, like, I'm in my brain, I'm seeing it and I'm stacking them all up. They're all coming, absorbing into me and into my body. And the ones that come in that are just like blah, 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 I'm like, please get off my list. I know it can feel kind of harsh to say, but sometimes who else is going to say this? Who else is going to tell you this? Sometimes it helps to have somebody say something so like direct to you. I know when people have said things that were direct to me, it was good because I'm like, oh, okay, wake up call. Because the reason why I'm saying these things to you is because I want a better life for you. I want you to get out of the thought trance that you're in. The cycle of being stuck. There's nothing I can do. I can't afford it. Other people can, but I can't. And I also want to tell the people that are solving for those problems and being entrepreneurial, but aren't exactly where they want to be in the film industry yet. I want to tell you guys that you guys are going to rock. That if you're already doing things for your life, you are going to be successful in the film industry. You're just a slight jump over into the strategies that get you working in film now. So you can do it. And then that feels really good for you to know that, because now you're going to grab it and it's going to impact your actions. You're going to grab it and you're going to go. So I think there's a difference between how you spend your money when you are using your money to go somewhere in life, or you're using your money just to exist. So when you're using money just to exist, that would be like where you're going out for lunch all the time with your friends. And you feel great when you're at lunch, but then you're like, oh man, I spent this much money. Or you're going out for drinks, or you're just spending money, unnecessary money that does nothing for you in your life. And you're doing it because you're just like, I feel so stuck in my life. So look at that spending and look at why you are spending that money and what you get from it. And think about how you could better spend that money that would actually get you somewhere in your life. Buying new clothes doesn't necessarily get you somewhere in your life, but buying a computer can. Buying equipment can, if that equipment, you have a place that you can rent it to immediately and start getting paid back for it. Buying equipment just to have equipment to make yourself feel better so you can say that you are a cinematographer, but there's nobody that's going to rent that equipment. You have no business yet that's paying you for that. That may not be a best use of your money. You might want to wait until you have clients and then you go buy the equipment, because buying equipment is like a day you got the equipment. That's no problem. But when you buy it in order to show that you are like you're actually a cinematographer, then you're making a mistake, because typically, until you have the work, they're not going to rent the stuff that you can afford. For cinematography, that stuff that you need is a lot more money than what you can afford right now. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to wait until you're on these big sets and see the equipment that they're actually renting. And once you have the clients from being on sets consistently, then you go buy that equipment. That's the smart way to do it. So if you're buying equipment to show the world and because you want to step into that category, that's not the way to do it. You buy equipment once you're already in that world and you've got somebody that wants to rent it for you. And then it becomes a good business decision. I want to suggest that you may want to make all of the spending and purchases look at, will this move me forward in what I want to do? And training is one of the best places that I have put my money, and it has come back to me tenfold, 100-fold. For the last 15, 20 years, I have spent money on personal development, public speaking, messaging, marketing, computers, programs. I have spent money on just always these very intense programs taught by people that can give me a shortcut so that I can take their knowledge and I can apply it. And I can tell you that it's not just the courses that they themselves are so great. It's also my own commitment that I'm going to apply those courses and I'm going to get back 10 times my money. When I did the personal development courses, the Tony Robbins courses, the Landmark courses, the MITT courses, those are all working on your own mind. So how's that going to pay me back? And when I took my very first course, I probably thought, well, how's this going to pay me back? But it pays you back in the way that you are able to see that your thinking is creating the life that you have today, and that you have the opportunity to produce new thinking if you want a different life. You have the opportunity to relate to people differently, to think that things are possible for you that you wouldn't even consider, to start growing and opening up new worlds that are simply not available to you because they're not even in your brain now. They're not in your thinking now, but they can be. So how do you start that process? That is working on your mind and what's possible for yourself. So all of the courses that I've ever taken have come back to me tenfold. So I definitely recommend taking courses. I personally don't recommend going to film school because it is so expensive. But I do love learning and I love classes. So I just love taking the very best classes that I can find from the best people and spending my money there. I also really like spending money on classes that I'm getting a content that I really get to focus on during that time, and then I get to apply it. And I like to take classes over time. So I do one and I get a huge benefit from it and I really focus on it. Then I'll go to another one that I will focus on and get a huge benefit from. And I think that's so much better to be in training for the rest of your life and have that philosophy that I make money so that I can invest back in myself, and knowing that your brain is the most important thing to invest back into. And that's why I also don't love film school, because you're putting a tremendous amount of money in a very short period of time where you're like 22 years old, or maybe you're 25 years old, but it's a very like a 1 year period of time where is that really worth $100,000? I mean, really? I don't think so. But that's up to you to decide whether it's worth it for you. I would much rather take $100,000 and I'd rather spend it out over 30 years, which you can buy the best courses, the best masterminds ever with $100,000, and as well put it into a couple of films. That can get you so much further. Another thing to think about is that film school, with the people that you're there, people say, oh, that's great connections. But those are connections with people that are all not in the film industry yet. That's why they're in film school, is because they want to be in the film industry and they're trying to get a leg up from that. But when you take that same amount of money and you decide that you're going to invest it in these very strategically provided courses that get you results, and some of them might not even be very much money. Like you can take a class through the union that is like $300, and you get exposed to professionals in the film industry, so much better than people that are trying to get in the film industry. There are a lot of courses and classes and things you can do that get you into proximity with people that are really connections. And I find that taking classes gives me that boost in access to people that are thinking like that. I want to be around people that are entrepreneurial and investing in themselves and freaking doing it and paying themselves back for these courses that they are investing in. That's who I want to be around. So I think my philosophy of taking courses throughout your whole life and getting access to the best information, bursts of information that you apply and commit to applying, is how you can go very fast in life. Ask yourself, as you're going through your week and through your month, when you're spending money, ask yourself, am I spending this money to get a little dopamine hit? Am I spending money to feel better? And is that feeling that I'm getting just something that's going to be in that moment? Or am I making decisions to spend money that is going to serve me in the future? Like investing in a course will serve me in the future. But spending money on going out to dinner or going out for drinks with my friends is the money's just gone, and it just gave me a dopamine hit in the moment. Just like shopping online gives me a dopamine hit in the moment. But will that serve me in the future? Will that serve me in 6 months? What did I get for spending that hard-earned money? Here's something to ask yourself. Do you want stuff or do you want money? When you look around yourself, you have a lot of stuff around you, and you paid for all that stuff. Over time, it really accumulates. Would you rather have the stuff, or would you rather have the money in your account? So if you would say right now, I'd rather have all of that money in my account and not all of this stuff, now you have something that you can help to make your future decisions when you find yourself wanting to buy more stuff. When you're about to make a decision to buy something, ask yourself, in 6 months, would I rather have this thing, this object that I am buying, or would I rather have the money in my account? That will allow you to make a good decision for yourself. So for most of us, that pair of jeans, that new thing, that vase, when maybe you're traveling somewhere, you're like, I just want a token. It costs $30, up to remind myself of my trip. So ask yourself in that moment, do I want that thing in 6 months? Or will want to have that money in my account in 6 months? And that will really help you make that decision in the moment with those impulsive, I just want to get that thing. You'll actually feel in your body, you'll feel that dopamine start to surge when you're like, I think I'm going to buy that thing. But now take a moment back, because that's going to show up on your bank account very soon. And in 6 months, will you say, oh yeah, I was happy with that purchase, that was a good purchase? Or will you say, I really didn't need that. That really doesn't even go with my future plans for myself. Because I feel like a lot of us are just in that impulse buying. And then month after month, with the things that we really want to do, we say we don't have any money. But it's been coming from our spending habits and the way that we've been thinking, this thinking and impulse buying situation that's happening. Because I think that you should never have to say, I can't afford to do this program. You should set your life up so that you can afford to do whatever it is that you want to do, especially if it's something that is going to move you to a whole new level in your life, a whole new level maybe in a relationship, a whole new level in your writing, or in something that you have always wanted to study. And now you're saying, I can't afford to do that because of all of these unconscious decisions that you've been making with spending money. Here's what a lot of us do. We spend money because we want to change how we feel in that moment. Let's go get an ice cream cone, and then I'll feel joy. Let's go do this thing together. Let's go whale watching. I want to have an exciting life because we want to have an exciting life. We want to change how we feel about our life and what we can do and who we are. So we're trying to use spending money to change how we feel. And it's not money's job to give you that dopamine hit. It's your job to give yourself that dopamine hit. And accomplishment in life is what gives you the biggest dopamine hit anyway. It's you living your life's job to give you that dopamine hit. There is no better dopamine hit than accomplishment. The decisions that you make for what you're capable of in your life are the most important decisions. Most people don't want to set goals because they don't want to disappoint themselves. So then they never set the goal, and then every year looks pretty much like the last year. Pretty much same income level, pretty much same habits, pretty much same life, same friends, same thinking, same thoughts. This whole podcast is about changing our thinking so that we can have the most amazing lives out there in the world, in the film industry. Film industry wants to hire people like that. So you're not changing your thinking for nothing. You're changing your thinking to be able to create the most amazing life, to become somebody that is entrepreneurial, problem-solving, their life works, creative, believe in their own creativity and that they can do it, that you can do it. So it's all so worth it. It's so worth it to change out of the way that you've been thinking into new ways of thinking and new actions that you're taking out there. Now, of course, I lay everything out for people in the craft certification program, what to do. It's just like, okay, we're going to get into a connection-based business, and here's what you do. It's not obvious. Nobody teaches this. There's no film school that teaches how to get connected in the film industry and meet all these people and get your career going while you have your own back and spur on your own thinking so that you have new ideas and new thoughts and new collaborations that you can do. Nobody teaches that, but that's what I teach. So it's all laid out for you in my program. So most people will say, oh, I can't afford to do that. It's only $5,000. And they spend $100,000 on stuff over the last 5 years. But, really the right people will know. So I just want to tell you that we all get in a thought trance where we're just thinking the same things that we thought last month and the month before. And our lives are pretty much the same month after month after month. And sometimes it takes knowing that I need to have some new thinking, some new thoughts, some new actions, new friends, new places, new experiences. And you know it. That's very much wisdom that just came out of your brain right there. Yes, you are on the right track. And it's not far away. Like an amazing life is not far away. It's just changing your thoughts and actions, and then you're basically changing your results. And a new life, it's not even far away. It's just a decision. Poof. And then you're in a completely different place with new experiences. I can see this from my pivotal times in my life where I made a decision and then everything changed. And I was like, how come I didn't think of this like 5 years ago? Well, it's because you didn't think of it 5 years ago. And when you think of it and you make that decision, that's when everything changed. So some of my most pivotal times was when I quit my job, cashed in my retirement, and bought that round the world ticket. Everything changed. I could have done it 5 years earlier, but it never even occurred to me. So that moment, that decision changed everything. Then when I decided that I was going to meet my mountain man, and that's my Joe, and I decided I was going to pursue and find my mountain man, and then I met him, everything changed. When we bought our house, I decided, we're going to buy a house. And he was scared shitless. He had stomach aches looking at houses. He's like, I don't know if I can afford that. He was so fear-based in his thinking. But for me, I'm like, everything works out. Then we bought our house and everything changed. When we got married, that was another one where we're like, we're going to have the most amazing relationship and we're going to both commit to that's what we want. And that commitment, everything changed. So it's a decision that starts your life. So you decide how you want to live your life. You decide how you want to think about money. Decide how you want to be spending your time. And decide how you want to think about your ability to have the life that you want working in the film industry. Make a decision. You will have a great life that's waiting for you on the other side of that decision. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much for listening. And if you want to take your career to the next level in the film industry, go to friendsinfilm.com/join. That's friendsinfilm.com/join. You can sign up for our mini course, learn about the A-list model, and then you can take it all the way and do the A-list program. So that's friendsinfilm.com/join. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, everybody.